Sometimes the person who deserves your loyalty the least ends up being the one who teaches you what loyalty really means. You stayed loyal. You grew. You waited. You played every card the right way, didn't you? You healed. You hustled. You leveled up. You stopped begging, stopped chasing, stopped explaining yourself. You became exactly what every breakup coach and late-night motivational video told you to become. Stronger, calmer, wiser. And still, they haven't returned. Before we go any deeper, hit that like button, subscribe if you haven't already, and let's keep growing together, my friends. Hey folks, imagine this. You plant a seed in the ground. You water it, give it sunlight, protect it from storms, and check on it every morning. You do everything right, but it still doesn't sprout when you expect it to. You start wondering if something's wrong with you, when really the seed was just working underground, in silence. That's what waiting for someone's return feels like. You can't see the roots growing, so you think nothing's happening. But here's the truth. Growth doesn't guarantee someone's comeback. It guarantees yours. The lie we often tell ourselves is that if we become the best version of who we are, they'll see it, they'll regret it, and they'll return. But folks, that's not how life or love works. You can shape your body, your habits, your bank account, but you cannot shape another person's readiness to value you. Their timeline is their lesson, not your responsibility. Think of it like driving in two cars on a long road. You fixed your engine, changed your tires, and started moving again, but they took a detour. You can't stop in the middle of the highway waiting for them to find their way back. You'll run out of gas before they even realize they're lost. As the Stoics say, we suffer more in imagination than in reality. Most of your pain doesn't come from the breakup. It comes from the story you keep replaying in your head. Maybe if I wait, maybe if I post this, maybe if they see how much I've changed. Stop. That's not strength. That's self-sabotage disguised as patience. My friends, waiting is not loyalty. Waiting is fear dressed in devotion. Real loyalty doesn't mean standing still. It means standing tall. It means saying, I was faithful, not because you deserved it, but because that's who I am. And listen, I get it. It hurts to realize that doing everything right doesn't guarantee a happy ending. But maybe the lesson isn't about them returning. Maybe it's about you not needing them to. Maybe your peace is the real reward. You see, loyalty, growth, and patience were never about getting someone back. They were about getting yourself back, piece by piece, breath by breath. You've already won, even if it doesn't feel like it yet. And the funny part, the moment you stop waiting is often the moment they start watching. Because your silence, your discipline, your glow, that's the loudest thing they'll ever hear. So if you've done everything right and they still haven't returned, it's not a sign that you failed. It's a sign that your journey is moving faster than theirs. Don't slow down for someone who's still learning how to crawl through the same fire you already walked out of. Stay patient, but not stuck. Stay loyal, but not blind. Stay growing, but for you, not for applause. Type this in the comments right now. I rise above waiting. Say it, own it, and remind yourself that your comeback doesn't need their validation. And hey, if you're ready to keep leveling up mentally, spiritually, and emotionally, stay with me till the end. We're just getting started. 1. The illusion of control. You can't force a timeline. You can water the flower every day, but you can't command it to bloom when you want. Here's the hardest truth, my friends. You don't control when they realize your value. You don't control if they ever do. And that burns, doesn't it? because deep down you thought your effort, your silence, your self-improvement, your loyalty, it would all add up to something. You believed that if you played the game right, if you followed all the so-called rules, the universe would hand you closure or maybe even reconciliation. But here's what Stoicism will always remind you. You can only master your actions, never the outcome. Imagine trying to push the river upstream. You can fight the current, thrash around, and waste your energy, but that river's going one way, with or without your permission. That's how emotions flow in breakups. You can't drag someone back into your life before they're ready to swim toward you again. And honestly, trying to control that timeline will only drown you. This is where most people get trapped. They don't see that their waiting is really controlling in disguise. They check their phone 10 times a day. They watch their stories. They imagine scenarios. They replay the past, like it's some kind of ritual to summon the person back. They think, if I hold on just a little longer, maybe they'll feel it too. But folks, that's not connection. That's attachment. It's trying to build a fire out of ashes. The Stoics had a word for this, apatheia. It doesn't mean apathy, it means emotional freedom. It means being untouchable by what's beyond your control. You see, when you understand that their timeline is not yours to manage, something powerful happens. Peace returns. The obsession fades. You start to breathe again. Marcus Aurelius once said, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." The moment you stop expecting the world to move at your pace, life starts moving for you. Because all this time, while you were waiting for them to come back, the universe was waiting for you to move forward. Let's be honest. You didn't stay loyal just to be forgotten. You didn't grow just to be ignored. But here's where perspective changes everything. Maybe it's not that your loyalty went unnoticed. Maybe it was seen, but not understood. See, some people don't reject your love because it was bad. They reject it because it was too real. It held up a mirror they weren't ready to face. Your calm made their chaos louder. Your growth made their stagnation obvious. Your silence forced them to listen to their own noise. And that's not your fault, brother. That's emotional maturity doing its job. You're not supposed to shrink your pace to match someone who's stuck in their lesson. You're supposed to keep walking. You're supposed to outgrow what no longer matches your peace. Think of a butterfly landing back on the cocoon it came from. It doesn't fit anymore. That's you. You're no longer built for the emotional chaos you once called love. You learned to sit with silence, to heal through stillness, to rebuild without validation. That's not weakness. That's evolution. So when you say, "I did everything right, why aren't they back?" Maybe the universe is whispering, because you're not supposed to go back. Maybe their chapter in your life was meant to end the moment you became too wise to reread it. I've seen men sabotage themselves chasing closure that doesn't exist. They think one more text will bring clarity. But folks, closure doesn't come from their message. It comes from your mindset. It's when you say, "I no longer need to know why." That's when real peace begins. Because the truth is, you don't want them back. You want the feeling you had when you were with them, the security, the comfort, the illusion of being chosen. But illusions don't last. Reality does. And the reality is, their absence is teaching you to stand without leaning. So, stop checking the clock. Stop comparing your progress to their silence. Stop thinking the universe made a mistake. The delay is not denial, it's direction. Every day they don't return, you're being given one more reason to build something stronger without them. And when that moment finally comes, when they scroll through your photos, when they hear your name, when someone tells them how well you're doing, that's when they'll feel it. The echo of everything they lost. But by then, you won't need that validation anymore, because you'll be too busy living the life they thought you'd never build without them. Remember this, my friends, you cannot rush destiny and you cannot delay peace. What's meant for you will find you, but only after you've stopped chasing it. So today, instead of asking, when will they come back? Ask yourself, what can I create now that they're gone? Because the real comeback isn't them walking back into your life, it's you walking into your power. Type this in the comments right now. I choose peace over control. Let that be your new standard, your new strength, your new silence. And if this hits home for you, press that like button, subscribe, and stay with me, because we're just getting started on building a peace so strong it no longer needs to be proven. Number 2, the growth gap. You've changed, they haven't. When you grow beyond someone's comfort zone, they call it distance, but it's really destiny. My friends, let's talk about one of the most painful parts of healing, realizing that the very growth you're proud of is the same growth that's keeping them away. You've leveled up mentally, physically, emotionally. You started eating better, thinking deeper, living wiser. You stopped reacting to every little thing, stopped explaining yourself, stopped lowering your energy to match theirs. You found your peace, and yet that peace now feels like a wall between you. You see, people love the version of you that needed them. They loved the man who was easy to predict, the one who texted first, apologized first, begged to fix things. But the moment you stopped being predictable, the moment you learned to breathe without them, suddenly you became different. Suddenly you became cold. Suddenly they couldn't read you anymore. And that's what scares them. Because your growth broke the pattern they were comfortable controlling. Imagine this. You're climbing a mountain, the air's thinner, the climb's tougher, but your vision keeps getting clearer. You turn around expecting them to be right behind you, but they're still sitting halfway down, building a campfire. They say they'll catch up, but they never do. So you keep climbing, and now the distance feels huge. You can still see them, but the connection, it's fading with every step you take upward. That's what the growth gap looks like. Two people who once walked together, now separated by mindset, not miles. And here's the truth, folks. Not everyone who started the journey with you is meant to finish it. Some people were there to awaken you, not accompany you. They were the spark that started your transformation. But they can't handle the flame you've become. You've learned self-respect. They're still chasing validation. You've learned discipline. They're still chasing dopamine. You've learned silence. They're still screaming for attention. Marcus Aurelius once said, "The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way, your separation, your distance, your silence. It's not a setback. It's the very path that's leading you toward purpose." The problem is, most people mistake your evolution for ego. They think you've changed because you no longer tolerate the same nonsense. But that's not ego, that's elevation. Growth isn't glamorous, it's lonely. It's spending nights alone with your thoughts, questioning your old habits, rewriting your beliefs, forgiving people who never apologized. It's brutal, but it's beautiful. And when someone hasn't grown alongside you, your new peace will feel like rejection to them. They'll say things like, "You've changed," but what they really mean is, "You're no longer the version of you that tolerated me." Let's be real for a second. You didn't go through all that pain just to stay the same. You didn't survive heartbreak, self-doubt, and silent nights just to return to who you were before. You're not meant to shrink again to make anyone else comfortable. The old you begged for love. The new you commands it through presence. The old you chased attention. The new you attracts it through energy. That's power, and power always intimidates those who lost control over it. They might not come back because deep down your transformation exposes their stagnation. You became the reflection they can't face. While you were busy breaking your own patterns, they were still living in them. And that's what makes it hard for them to reach out. Your growth reminds them of every place they refuse to grow. Think of your new self like a new frequency, a higher vibration. If they're still tuned to chaos, drama, avoidance, or fear, they can't hear you anymore. You've changed the signal, and it frustrates them because deep down they miss the comfort of being understood by you. They miss the safety of being loved unconditionally by someone they didn't have to earn. But the thing is, now they do have to earn it. You've raised the price of admission. And this is where many people get stuck. They start dimming their light again, just to make the other person comfortable. Don't do that, my friend. Don't shrink your energy just because someone refuses to expand theirs. Don't slow your growth just because they're scared of seeing what accountability looks like. You owe it to yourself to keep climbing. The right people will meet you at the top, not because you waited, but because you kept moving. You'll know your growth is real when you no longer feel the need to prove it, when you stop announcing your changes and start embodying them, when you stop needing their reaction to validate your evolution. That's when you've crossed the line between growth and freedom. And yes, one day they'll notice. They'll scroll through your pictures, hear your name in a conversation, or just sit alone one night and realize you're not the same person they left behind. You're wiser, you're calmer, you're stronger. But by the time they realize it, you'll be too far ahead emotionally to look back. The growth gap isn't punishment, it's protection. The universe doesn't separate you from people to hurt you. It separates you to highlight you, to show you how much you've outgrown what once felt like home. So if you're wondering why they haven't returned, maybe it's because your evolution scared them. Not because you did something wrong, but because you did something rare. You healed. Say this out loud, my friends. My growth isn't rejection, it's direction. Write it in the comments right now and remind yourself, the people who can't rise with you were never meant to stay. And if this hit deep, hit that like button, subscribe, and stay with me, because we're just getting started on learning how to turn your evolution into your quietest revenge. Number 3, the waiting trap, when patience turns into self-punishment. Patience is power until it becomes the cage that keeps you from moving forward. My friends, let's be real. You've probably told yourself this more than once. I'm just being patient. I'm giving them time. I'm staying loyal. And on the surface, it sounds noble. You convince yourself that waiting is strength, that waiting shows faith, that waiting means love. But here's the truth that will sting a little. Most people aren't waiting out of faith. They're waiting out of fear. Fear that if they move on, the other person will come back the moment they do. Fear that letting go means losing control. Fear that healing means finality. That's not patience, my friends. That's self-punishment disguised as hope. Imagine this. A man sitting at a train station long after the last train has already left. The lights are off, the tracks are cold, but he stays, checking his watch every few minutes, whispering to himself, maybe it's just delayed. That's what many of us do emotionally. We sit in the wreckage of something that's already over, waiting for the sound of footsteps that aren't coming back down the platform. Stoicism teaches us this simple but powerful truth. The obstacle is the way. If waiting has become your obstacle, then the way forward is movement, not more stillness. Patience is beautiful when it's tied to purpose, but when it's tied to pain, it becomes poison. You can't heal by holding your breath, hoping someone else will finally exhale first. See, when you wait too long, you start living in the past tense. Your mind keeps replaying the same movie while your life is begging you to write a new one. You start checking their social media, counting the days since the last text, decoding silence like it's a hidden language. But silence isn't a message, it's a mirror, and what it's reflecting back is your attachment, not their intention. Waiting creates illusions. You begin to imagine a reunion that may never happen. You start scripting conversations in your head, planning your responses to messages that don't exist. You start treating time like a negotiator between you and fate. But time doesn't owe you results. It owes you lessons. And one of the hardest lessons is realizing that not all waiting is loyalty. Sometimes it's avoidance. Avoidance of reality, avoidance of new beginnings, avoidance of the truth that maybe, just maybe, they're not your destiny anymore. Here's something to think about, folks. When you wait too long, you start making your peace conditional on someone else's decisions. You start saying, "I'll be okay once they come back." That's emotional bankruptcy. You've handed the keys of your happiness to someone who's not even parked in your life anymore. Stoicism calls that the ultimate weakness, depending on externals, for internal peace. Epictetus once said, "When you are offended at any man's fault, turn to yourself and study your own failings. Then you will forget your anger." In your case, that means instead of being angry that they haven't returned, study why you're still waiting. Is it really love, or is it the need to prove your worth through their acceptance? Because once you recognize that, you stop waiting for validation. You start building self-respect. Here's the part most won't tell you. Waiting feels comfortable because it feels familiar. It gives your mind something to hold on to, even if it's pain. Moving on, though, that's the unknown. And the unknown scares people more than heartbreak itself. But you can't grow in comfort. You can't heal while holding onto the same rope that's burning your hands. There's a moment in everyone's healing journey where they have to stop waiting for closure and start creating it. You don't need their apology to forgive them. You don't need their return to prove your value. You don't need their acknowledgement to justify your effort. You just need to reclaim your timeline. Imagine again that same man at the train station. Now picture him standing up, brushing the dust off his coat and walking away. He doesn't curse the train for leaving. He doesn't cry about missing it. He simply realizes that there's another station, another route, another destination waiting for him. But he'll never reach it if he stays here, staring at empty tracks. That's what letting go looks like. That's what choosing yourself sounds like. Quiet, calm, unapologetic. My friends, I want you to understand this. It's not your job to wait for people to become who they promised to be. It's your job to become everything you said you'd become when they left. That's where real peace begins. That's when the waiting stops feeling like punishment and starts turning into power. And let's add a little humor here, because you know I keep it real. Waiting for someone who's moved on is like keeping the Wi-Fi bill paid in an apartment you don't even live in anymore. You're funding a connection that no longer exists. Cut it off. Save your energy. Use it to build your own home, the one inside your mind where peace lives rent-free. When you stop waiting, you start witnessing. You start seeing your life open up again. New opportunities, new people, new energy. Because life was never punishing you. It was just waiting for you to get up from that old station and start walking again. So today, make this your turning point. Stop glorifying patience when it's draining your spirit. Stop calling emotional paralysis hope. If they were meant to return, they would have by now. And if they ever do, it'll be because you stopped sitting still. Say this out loud, my friends. I release the waiting. Write it down in the comments if you're done punishing yourself for someone else's indecision. And if you're ready to move from waiting to winning, hit that like button, subscribe, and stay with me, because the next part will show you how their silence turns into your strength. Number 4. Emotional karma. Why their silence isn't peace. Silence is never empty. It's filled with every truth they tried to avoid. My friends, people often think silence means peace, that if they're not talking, they've moved on. But that's not how emotional energy works. Silence doesn't mean peace. It means postponed chaos. Every feeling they buried, every guilt they ignored, every memory they tried to erase, it's still in there, waiting to explode when the distractions fade. You see, emotional karma always catches up. You can avoid conversations, delete photos, mute songs, even block numbers, but you can't block your own conscience. You can run from someone's love, but you can't outrun the echo of how you treated them. And while they're out there pretending they're fine, posting filtered smiles and forced confidence, deep down, their soul knows what they lost. Imagine throwing a rock into a still lake. The splash is quick, but the ripples last a long time. That's what happens when they walk away. The decision feels powerful in the moment, but the ripples of it, they come later. At first, they feel free. They distract themselves, find comfort in new faces, new messages, new attention. But soon, that dopamine rush fades, and in the quiet moments, when no one's around to perform for, the truth hits. Because deep down, peace never comes from escape. It comes from accountability. And when you leave someone loyal, someone who loved you purely, the universe doesn't just let you skip the lesson. It waits. It lets time reveal everything. It lets you realize that all the people who came after felt shallow because they didn't carry that same connection. That the laughter with new faces didn't feel as warm. That the affection didn't feel as safe. As Marcus Aurelius said, you can leave your past behind, but not your actions. The Stoics understood that consequences aren't punishments, they're teachers. Every choice we make plants a seed, and the harvest always comes. Some people just don't like what grows when it finally does. So if they've gone quiet, if they've ghosted, if they've vanished like nothing happened, don't assume they're at peace. Silence isn't proof of healing. Sometimes it's proof of guilt. And guilt is a powerful teacher. It sits quietly, but it never leaves. It reminds them in subtle ways. A song on the radio, a place they used to go, a laugh that sounds like yours. It all becomes emotional flashbacks they can't control. The universe has a poetic way of balancing things. The same silence they used to hurt you becomes the silence that haunts them. The same distance they created to find peace becomes the distance that exposes their emptiness. And you? You start to rise in that very silence. You start to build something real: stability, purpose, identity. Let's make one thing clear. Karma isn't always punishment. Sometimes it's just perspective. While you were crying, they were celebrating their freedom. While you were growing, they were convincing themselves you'd always be there. But the day they come back to check and you're gone, emotionally, spiritually, energetically. That's karma. That's the moment they realize the silence they created has turned into a wall they can't climb. My friends, the universe is never in a hurry, but it's always on time. Emotional karma doesn't need revenge to be real. It doesn't need your bitterness, your anger, or your words. All it needs is your growth. And time will do the rest. Because nothing burns a person more than watching someone they underestimated glow without their presence. Picture this. You're walking through a forest. You're calm, healed, grounded. Behind you, they're trying to follow, but every step they take makes noise. Twigs snap under their feet, leaves crunch, because their guilt makes it impossible to walk quietly in the peace you've already found. That's the difference. You earned your silence. They're trapped inside theirs. So when you start to wonder, why haven't they reached out? Remember, silence doesn't mean serenity. It means avoidance. And avoidance is just a ticking clock waiting for reality to strike. They might laugh louder now, but that laughter has a deadline. They might look happier online, but that highlight reel hides a lot of midnight reflection. One day, they'll look back at the messages they ignored. They'll revisit the moments you tried to fix things. They'll scroll through the memories, thinking they're just reminiscing, but what they're really doing is grieving the peace they threw away. Because they'll finally realize something you already learned. You can't replace genuine energy with temporary attention. And when that day comes, you won't need to prove a point. You won't need to post, to flex, or to show off. Your stillness will say everything. Your peace will speak louder than any revenge ever could. That's the Stoic way. Not to wish them harm, but to wish yourself freedom. So don't envy their silence. Don't fear their absence. Understand it. Their quiet isn't victory. It's the echo of choices catching up. The more they try to suppress it, the louder it gets. And if you've been patient, loyal, and true, you've already done your part. The rest? That's between them and their own reflection. Say this right now, my friends. Their silence is my peace. Type it in the comments and let it remind you. Your healing doesn't need closure, it needs conviction. And if this hits home, hit that like button, subscribe, and stay with me. Because next, we'll talk about how your absence becomes the loudest sound they'll ever hear. Number 5. The energy reversal. When your absence starts echoing. You were loud when you loved them, but your silence will echo louder than any word you ever spoke. My friends, every action in this world carries energy. Every presence leaves a frequency behind. And when you pull your energy back, when you stop chasing, stop explaining, stop waiting, that absence doesn't vanish. It echoes. It lingers like a song that once filled the room, and now the quiet feels heavier than the sound ever did. You might not see it yet, but your silence is doing what your words never could. It's teaching them, it's unsettling them, it's forcing them to feel the weight of what they took for granted. Because here's the thing, your energy was the heartbeat of that connection. When you left, the rhythm stopped. And no matter how many people they surround themselves with, that missing frequency, it's unmistakable. Imagine a house after a power cut. The lights go out, the warmth fades, and suddenly they realize how much comfort that invisible energy brought. That's what your absence feels like. You were the electricity that made everything bright. You gave warmth, stability, consistency, and now that you're gone, every new connection feels colder, shorter, weaker. They might not admit it out loud, but they feel it in every dull conversation that doesn't hit the same way. People don't miss you because you're gone. They miss you because your absence changes the temperature of their world. You were their emotional climate, my friends, and when you walked out, the seasons shifted. At first, they don't notice. They think they're fine. They fill their days with noise, new faces, new hobbies, new distractions. They scroll, they post, they laugh louder, but silence always returns. And when it does, it's your energy that fills the void. They'll catch themselves remembering small details, your laugh, your advice, your calmness when everything fell apart. They'll try to shrug it off, but that's how energy works. It's not erased, it's transferred. Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "What stands in the way becomes the way." The obstacle, the separation, the distance, it all becomes the lesson. When you stop showing up for people who didn't value your energy, that absence becomes their mirror. It forces them to see themselves without the reflection of your light. And most people don't like what they see. You ever notice how they only remember your worth when you finally stop giving? That's not coincidence. That's the energy reversal. When you were available, they mistook consistency for convenience. They thought your kindness was a default setting, not a decision. But now that it's gone, they realize how much your presence actually meant. You became the standard they can't replicate. Every new connection they form falls short because no one else carries your frequency. Folks, let me tell you something. Silence is magnetic. When it's rooted in peace, it draws everything back that once took you for granted. Your calmness becomes intimidating. Your absence becomes mysterious. People start to wonder what changed, why you're no longer reachable, why your energy feels different. That curiosity, that's your power returning to you. But here's where you need to be careful. Don't break your silence just because they suddenly remember your name. Don't ruin the echo by speaking too soon. Energy works best when it's consistent. Stay detached, stay calm, stay aligned. Because every time you maintain your peace instead of reacting, you're amplifying your presence in their mind. Think about it. You can't miss someone who keeps reminding you they're still there. You only start to feel the loss when the energy truly disappears. That's when the mind starts searching for it. That's when curiosity turns into longing. That's when they replay the old memories, trying to re-feel the warmth. And that's the most poetic revenge there is. Not cruelty, not punishment, but silence that teaches. This is how the energy reversal works. The one who used to chase becomes the one they can't stop thinking about. The one who used to wait becomes the one they can't reach. The one who used to explain becomes the one they can't understand anymore. It's not about arrogance. It's not about ego. It's about alignment. You're not chasing. You're vibrating at a higher frequency now. You're operating from peace, not desperation. And that new energy can't be ignored. Even if they never admit it, they feel it. It's in the tone of your voice when you finally speak again. It's in the calmness of your eyes when they see you. It's in the way you no longer flinch when they try to provoke you. That's power. Your absence becomes their teacher, and your silence becomes their mirror. They learn that consistency was rare, that loyalty was priceless, that your peace was the thing holding the chaos together. And when they finally understand that, it's too late, because your energy has already shifted beyond their reach. Remember, my friends, this isn't about revenge. This is about balance. The universe has a way of returning energy to where it belongs. You gave, you poured, you showed up. Now it's your time to receive. But the only way to receive is to stop chasing. Let the silence do its work. Let the echo of your absence fill the spaces you used to overextend yourself in. because one day, when they scroll through their messages and see your name, it'll hit them, not as nostalgia, but as realization. You were the calm in their storm, the peace they thought was boring, the stability they mistook for routine. And by then, you'll be long gone, not out of spite, but out of evolution. So the next time you wonder if they miss you, stop asking. Your absence already answered that question. Every unanswered message, every long stare, every quiet night, that's your energy reminding them what they lost. Say this right now, my friends. My silence speaks volumes. Type it in the comments if you're done proving your worth and ready to let your energy do the talking. And if you felt this deep in your chest, hit that like button, subscribe, and stay with me, because next we'll uncover the truth about detachment and why indifference is the loudest form of power. Number 6. Detachment is the final proof of power. You know you've healed when their chaos no longer disturbs your calm. My friends, we've talked about waiting, about loyalty, about silence, but now we step into the highest form of strength, detachment. Because the truth is, when you stop reacting, you stop bleeding, and that's when your real power begins to show. Detachment isn't coldness. It isn't pretending not to care. It's understanding that your peace is worth more than proving your point. It's realizing that not everything deserves your energy, especially not the things that once drained it. Let's be honest, folks. We live in a world that glorifies obsession. Movies, songs, and social media all tell you that love means holding on, fighting harder, chasing until they finally realize. But that's not love. That's addiction dressed as devotion. And detachment? It's the detox. It's the moment you stop craving closure from people who wouldn't understand your silence anyway. Imagine your emotions as a wild ocean. Every insult, every memory, every thought about them is a wave trying to pull you under. Detachment is learning how to surf, how to ride the chaos without drowning in it. You stop asking, "Why did they do this to me?" and start saying, "Why am I still giving this power?" Because let's be real, pain only lingers when you keep feeding it your attention. Epictetus once said, "It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters." Detachment is that quote in motion. It's no longer letting external events dictate your inner weather. You start realizing that they can storm all they want outside, but inside, the temple is silent. And this silence, it's not empty, it's sacred. It's the sound of your energy returning home. You no longer need to watch their every move. You no longer need to post to prove a point. You don't even flinch when their name pops up. You've transcended that emotional battlefield. You're not fighting for attention anymore. You're walking in peace. Here's something powerful, my friends. Detachment doesn't make you lose love. It makes you redefine it. You start seeing love not as possession, but as appreciation. You realize that you can love someone deeply and still release them completely. That's mastery. That's what separates emotional boys from stoic men. Because a man who can walk away without bitterness is a man who truly understands his worth. Think about it like this. Fire can either burn your house down or light your path, depending on how you control it. Your emotions work the same way. If you let them control you, they destroy you. If you master them, they illuminate you. Detachment is fire turned into wisdom. It's emotional alchemy, turning heartbreak into power. And let's not twist it. Detachment doesn't mean you stop feeling. You'll still have moments where you miss them, where a memory creeps in, where you wonder what could have been. That's human, but the difference now is those moments don't define you anymore. They pass through you like clouds through the sky. They visit, but they don't stay. because you've built a stronger foundation, one that doesn't shake just because someone else left. You see, when you're truly detached, you don't chase outcomes. You attract alignment. You don't seek closure. You create clarity. You don't demand attention. You embody presence. People feel it. They feel that calm, that quiet, that stillness, and it's magnetic. Because most people are trapped in emotional noise, and when they meet someone who's silent inside, they can't stop thinking about it. And that's the irony, my friends. When you finally stop caring whether they return, that's when they start noticing. When you stop proving, they start questioning. When you stop showing up, they start showing interest. That's not coincidence. That's energy equilibrium. What you release returns, but only after it's too late to shake you. So don't confuse detachment with indifference. Indifference says, I don't care. Detachment says, I care, but I choose peace. It's maturity. It's wisdom. It's what makes your silence louder than any speech. You're no longer performing emotional gymnastics for someone's approval. You're sitting in your strength, steady as a mountain. There's a story in Zen philosophy. A man once held a cup of hot tea, but refused to let go even as it burned his hand. When asked why, he said, because it's mine. That's what most people do with pain. They hold on, even when it hurts, because they think letting go means losing something. But you don't lose by letting go. You lose by holding on to what's already gone cold. The moment you release it, the pain stops owning you. That's detachment. That's freedom. And I'll tell you something, folks. People can sense when you've detached. They can feel it. It's in your tone, your energy, your eyes. You're no longer emotionally accessible. You've become rare again. And rarity always creates value. That's why detachment is power, because it silently shifts the dynamic. You're no longer waiting to be chosen, you're choosing yourself. So, if you've been waiting, hoping, checking, or wondering, it's time to step back and let go. Not because you've given up, but because you've woken up. You've realized that your time, energy, and heart are sacred currencies. And you're done spending them on uncertainty. Say this right now, my friends. I choose peace over pain. Type it in the comments and let it be your affirmation of strength. Because the real victory isn't getting them back, it's getting yourself back. And if this message spoke to that quiet warrior inside you, hit that like button, subscribe, and stay with me. Because next we'll talk about the Stoic return. How you stop chasing, start choosing, and become the one they can't forget. Number 7. The Stoic return. You don't chase, you choose. A man who learns to walk away in peace becomes the one everyone walks back to. My friends, this is where the story flips. The same people who once thought you'd always be available start wondering where your energy went. The same person who ignored your calls now overthinks your silence. The same person who thought they could replace you now realizes they can't even forget you. That's not luck, that's alignment. That's what happens when you stop chasing and start choosing. You see, for the longest time, you were stuck in the wrong rhythm. You were dancing to their beat, reacting to their moves, waiting for their tune to change. But something shifted. You learned to move to your own music. That's what Stoicism teaches us. Mastery over the self. And when you master your emotions, you become unpredictable, not to manipulate, but to protect your peace. When you stop chasing, you reclaim the one thing they never thought you'd find: control. You stop begging for closure, stop proving your worth, stop performing for attention, and in doing so, you shift from desperation to dominance. Because while they're busy wondering if you've moved on, you're busy becoming someone new, someone they can no longer reach with the same tricks. Think about it like this, folks. You were once the flame that burned too brightly for someone who only wanted warmth. They got close enough to feel your heat, but never close enough to match your fire. And when you finally stopped burning for them, the darkness they created started closing in. Now they're standing there, hands outstretched, hoping you'll light them again. But this time, you're not their candle. You're the sun. And the sun doesn't chase anyone. There's a quote that says, "The day you plant the seed is not the day you eat the fruit. You did the work. You healed. You transformed. You built yourself in silence. And now, while they're just starting to feel the weight of their choices, you're already miles ahead." That's the irony of emotional timing. By the time they wake up, you've already outgrown the version of yourself that needed them. When they finally circle back, don't see it as validation, see it as confirmation. Confirmation that energy never lies. Because when you rise in silence, the universe echoes your growth. The one who once left to find better will eventually learn that better was never about looks, status, or attention. It was about energy. And yours? It can't be replicated. But let's make one thing clear, my friends. Your goal is not to reject them for revenge. Your goal is to decide with wisdom. If they've truly changed, if they've grown, if they come back humble, then maybe there's a new chapter to write. But if they return just to refill their ego, that's your cue to close the book. You don't chase what left. You choose what deserves to stay. That's the Stoic way. Power with peace. You're no longer angry, bitter, or obsessed. You're calm, collected, centered. That's what scares them the most. Your indifference. Because when someone can no longer affect your emotions, they lose control of the narrative. You've rewritten it. You're no longer the broken one, the waiting one, the desperate one. You're the grounded one. The one who grew through the pain instead of shrinking from it. And you know what happens next? They come back not to win you, but to remember what being safe felt like. They'll test the waters, drop a message, or accidentally cross your path. But you'll feel it, that energy of curiosity mixed with regret. And this time, you won't react. You'll simply observe. Because you've learned the art of restraint, the art of silence, the art of choosing peace over validation. That's what real power looks like, not in what you can control, but in what no longer controls you. You don't chase love anymore. You attract alignment. You don't beg for closure. You embody it. You don't fight for attention. You command respect through your calm. My friends, your transformation is the loudest thing they'll ever hear. You don't have to announce your worth. Your evolution announces it for you. You're not returning to the old battlefield. You've outgrown the war entirely. So when they finally return, and trust me, if they ever truly connected with your soul, they will, don't greet them with bitterness. Greet them with boundaries. Smile with wisdom, not with weakness. Because forgiveness doesn't mean access.